Welcome back, guys, and today doing a quick video on how to make your Drifta 1.2 or 1.4 a better tent. So I'll run through a few things. Firstly, how to run power into the tent nice and easy. Secondly, how to change the whole inner tent lining if you ever get a replacement or an upgrade. And thirdly, how to make the thing as windproof as possible, because generally they're pretty good in the wet, but they do suffer from bad wind noise and they flap around a lot in heavy winds. So hopefully all these things will make you sleep a little bit better in the Drifta. This comes after about 80 days or so of living out of the tent. I've had some sleepless nights and some good night's sleep, so hopefully I can help one person at least. All right, firstly, running power into the Drifta is super easy. If you've got a control box like this XTM one or the Kings one, this is how I've done it, but you could do anything with a switch powered off your battery and obviously fused. These are already fused, so easy enough. Took the front cover off and just ran some twin core cable down that runs to a female cigarette lighter up the top. I'll show you in a second. Runs this switch here. Just turn that on. Now I've run it out of my canopy here through a grommet up and then run it under the tent here. Because this tent has a separate lining to the actual shell, you can run it up and underneath and then just run it in through the zips. And that way when the tent closes here, you're not affecting this seal or anything like that. The tent can just stay shut and you've got power left in there all the time. So as you can see, the cord there comes up through the zipper and just drips over that little clip on the top there. I leave a double USB in there, and that way the light stays connected pretty much whenever I pack the tent up, so I can turn that switch on and then I've got a light running on once I get into bed. And then once you actually want to go to sleep, just unplug the light, grab your phone charger, plug that in, or whatever other accessory you want to throw in instead. So next up, I'll show you how to change the whole inner tent. Basically, I went through a warranty claim with Drifta that lasted a fair while due to high wind noise and all that. I'll show you in the next video, but I've changed this tent about 3 or 4 weeks ago. This is definitely a newer and improved version. It's much tighter than the original. So if you're having problems and sleepless nights, then it's something worth getting onto about while you've got your warranty. So I'll show you that video now, and then I'll come back and I'll show you everything you can do to make this thing as windproof as possible. We're going to be changing the inner tent in the Drifta 1.2. About a month and a half ago, I made a warranty claim due to getting water in through the top zip. I'll put a video up now, and it was extreme weather, but it wasn't the first issue I'd had with the Drifta. So after a month and a half on and off the phone on the road trying to get a tent sent out, finally received it. And I've also got the elastic cord that goes over the top to pull the sides in when you pack it up, and some double-sided Velcro which will go against the back, against the wall of the tent, because it kind of acts as a tunnel. Apparently it can be done in 10 minutes, but there's a good chance it's going to take close to an hour because I've never done it before. So we'll open up and see what we're dealing with. This tent here is actually meant to be a new and improved version, which is a little bit tighter. Just really looks like it's a lot of these little sail channels, a couple of plastic clips, and then obviously tying this to the crossbars underneath. Alright, so really it's just undoing these straps here under the whole tent, which is easier said than done. The fact that there is some straps on mine that sit on top of my canopy. I don't know if you can see in there, there's one on there. And then the rest I think is just clips. So the rest is actually not too bad, but you might have to undo these front mounts to the tent here, which are actually already loose, I just found out. So see how we go. I'm just gonna, because this top canvas is staying, I'm just going to undo that. Once you've done all your clips, I'm pretty sure it's just undoing these sail tracks, which should hopefully just pull out. Didn't actually realise that you'd be able to get to these straps from the top, like this one here. Getting them undone is quite easy, but putting a new one on might be a bit more of a job. Alright, so once you've taken all your clips off the bottom, you should just be pulling these sail tracks from each side. So the install is basically the same as the uninstall, just in the reverse order. Alright, so what I've just learnt is do the entrance door sail tracks first, then do this one, the one on the other side, and then do these end two. I tried to do both of this side, I couldn't get the other side to start, so finish your sail tracks and then get any hard to get to tie down points. And then these ones are obviously just clips, but these tie down points here I can do from the underside, so I'll do them last. But so far it's not too bad. You could probably do this in 15-20 minutes on the floor if you had the tent like maneuverable, but tied down to a car it's a bit of a different story. Alright, so sail tracks are in, and I've just gone around and tightened up the things on the bottom there. So next is pretty much just going off, putting that on there. It does feel tighter. That's that was quite loose to come off before, so that is a good sign. I'll clip these ones on. The bit that usually flaps is this bit of canvas in here, and because this is such a tunnel, he's given me some double-sided Velcro and basically tape this to here. I'm going to leave it off for now and to see if this holds up any better being a new tent, but if we have one windy night, then we'll get the double-sided Velcro out and give it a whirl. And then it's just Velcro your black canvas cover back along this bar and pull your straps through these little bits here. Before I forget, the two screws that actually have to go in these clips here, otherwise it'll spin. Alright, so all these are now on all the way along. This actually broke on my tent as well when I got it. As you can see, I've re-stitched it with a bit of thread, but I remember when I first got it, that looked quite weak, and yeah, about the 8th time I used the tent, it pulled out. Alright, so we're going to just chuck the floor in. Alright, so the floor is in. I didn't actually know this for the first bit that I owned the Drifter, but you've got these two extensioning rods here. You have to extend the outside one here fully. You have to make sure that one's fully extended, lock that up, and then pull that one as tight as possible. That gives you the best possible tightening on the whole tent. Alright, so the last bit I've had to do, probably the most awkward, as you can tell where I'm standing, is the 4 clips up the top here. You got to get in and tighten each one and then plug it in. Without that, the tent does stay relatively loose. All you got to do now is unvelcro the LED light, put that in, put the shoe holders back on, and I've actually missed 3 of the little clips under the back here because they're where the fishing rod is, so put them in and we're good to go. Alright, so you've probably already got a good idea what you have to do to make this thing as windproof as possible, watching that little video there, but I'll go through everything you can do if you're still having problems. So number one is obviously the way you set those poles up inside. I just showed you how to do that. Make sure you start with that. Next up, these straps here, just make sure they're really tight. Don't reef on them too much, because I did actually have this one on this side break when I first got it, so I've re-stitched that. Make sure they're really tight, but obviously try not to break them. Next up, the 4 clips across the top there, make sure that they're still tight. They should be if you've got yours from factory, but if you do fit this new tent, make sure they are all tight. So next up, if you are really having problems, the worst spot these have wind noise is through this tunnel in here. So get yourself some double-sided Velcro and stick this layer of the tent to the hard shell. That should hopefully make sure that that stops the flapping back and forth. If that part is solved and that's not your problem, then most likely it's going to be your black canvas that runs on top. Once you've tightened these black things, that's all you can do. But if you've got rope tie downs, cable ties, whatever, then tie down here to the middle of your tent, loop a strap over. I've done this with some elastic bungee cord, or you can do it with ratchet straps and all sorts, and then tie it down to this part here and just pull that black canvas tight, because that thing will obviously act as a bit of a tunnel as well between the two canvases. And lastly, you want to make sure that you're facing your hard shell into the wind. So if you set up on the beach or somewhere like that, it's not always as easy because you want the good view, or you want accessibility where your ladder is. But basically try and make sure the wind is going to hit that hard shell of your rooftop, and it'll take some of the impact off your canvas. All right, so lastly, I thought I'd do a little quick tip on how you can leave bedding inside the Drifter. Basically, I've just got the upgraded mattress, sheets, a doona, and 2 pillows here. The pillows aren't very thick, but it's still something that you can leave in here. Especially if you don't go camping very often, then this is definitely a tip for you. Just leave some cheap pillows in here. So this will work for you if you just want to leave 2 cheap pillows in, or 2 thin pillows. Then basically pack them against this side here. Have your bedding completely leveled out as much as possible. Have it flat everywhere. And then when you close the tent in, this outer bar here will land just shy of this pillow, and then that'll allow you to actually close the tent on top. You will have to loosen the hinges that close the tent a little bit, but you will be able to leave this bedding here. This is how I've lived out of the tent for the last 80 days, and it does work a treat. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to leave like a huge sleeping bag in there and 4 pillows like a lot of the other tents, but it's a good start rather than trying to lug everything in and out of the car every day. I do have a sleeping bag in the car that I will use as we go further south and it gets a bit colder, but for now, it's a good little hint. Hopefully this video has helped you in some way. If you have any other little hints or tips for the Drifter, please leave it below so everyone else can kind of get an idea of what needs doing on these things to make them more enjoyable. And hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot for watching, and please like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.